Welcome to this session about building and managing your online community. So I can't hear you, unfortunately. If you have any questions, the girls have told me that they will type them to me. So please, at any time, feel free to shoot a question over, and I'll see it through text. So, as my intro said, my session is basically about building and managing an online community. Now, I take up issue a little bit with the term community manager just because I come from the world of advertising where community manager is a very branded community managing is different than what we're doing in the blogger sphere. And I also had a boss that would just say it, the douchebaggy way ever. This is Lauren, our community manager. Like, dude, I'm a blogger, okay? But no, there are a lot of things that could be taken from the world of advertising and used towards your own blog. So I'm going to start with just kind of defining what community management is in the traditional sense. So it's sort of a marketing term. It mostly refers to branded online communities. It's someone who manages a brand's online presence, and it can involve everything from attending events and shooting videos and blogging about them to running a Twitter feed and Facebook account on behalf of a major corporation, or in the case of someone working with an organization, maybe a nonprofit or some sort of organization. Managing your own community for your blog is similar. You do a lot of the same things, but it benefits you directly, and I find that people who are great managers of their own community are people who, they succeed and they're more invested in it. You care more about what you're doing because it's directly benefits you. So, I'm going to pop this out here so you guys go. I'm going to start by talking about being in the right places, the right platforms, the right network. So getting yourself out there is just as important as building your blog. Like I said in my intro, it doesn't matter if you've got the best, most kicking back start party with cool recipe videos. If nobody knows it's there, you're not going to get anybody to come. So one of the important parts of building a good online community is just getting your name out there, getting people knowing who you are, getting familiar with you, getting comfortable with you, comfortable talking to you. And it's actually a lot of fun. I benefited so much from being kind of an online community builder manager, just with all the friends and all the cool events I get to go to. And you can too. It's easy. You just need to be invested in yourself and work at it a little bit. So. And I'm sure you're all on Twitter by this point. You're at NEPA BlogCon. It's a blog event. But there are some other networks too. I don't know if you guys have heard of this thing called Facebook, but it's kind of popular. Facebook's important as well. I think Twitter's even more important in terms of how public it is and how far-reaching it is. Facebook is great if you have a fan page and you are a really big blogger and you want to have lots of people interacting with you in that space. You can have a fan page. But outside of Twitter and Facebook, there are a whole bunch of other networks, and I think this is where defining your niche comes in. So I don't know who talks about this in any of your other sessions or panels, but some of the best blogs are niche blogs, some of the highest performing blogs, because people are out there searching for specific things. So the example that I heard once is that if you're a model train enthusiast, if you're someone who's really into building little model railroad trains, and you write a blog about that, every other person in the world, when they search that, you're likely to rank pretty high. And if you can do it well and you're really passionate about it, then that's going to show and people are going to be invested in your blog. It's the same sort of thing with social networks. So it's important that you aren't just going anywhere and blast on about stuff. If you find the right niche, so a good example is a fashion blogger. So a fashion blogger to go out and have a fan page and a Twitter account, that's great. I think that's the basics that everybody needs. But you also want to look into finding what specific social networks exist for your niche. So fashion blogging alone, there is lookbook.new, there's chictopia.com, things like the IFB, Independent Fashion Bloggers, and these are all very, very powerful traffic drivers. People who rank on Chictopia will get like 30,000 hearts on a comment. That drives a lot of traffic to your blog or your business. So if you are a branded company or a small independent retailer and you sell shirts, and you're putting shirts on Cheaptopia, and you're doing it in an authentic way, not, trying to sell and be all brandy, then marketing, then that can drive a lot of revenue and traffic as well. So I would encourage anyone who is working on building your own online community to start by looking at what and where you fit into that space. So for me personally, I'm a web culture and humor blogger. I'm also a media person by trade. I work in TV and news. So I'm a member of a bunch of different news communities, and I do find I get a lot of referrals from my posts on message boards, different sort of news association blogs and stuff. I'm also really into, like I said, web culture, so I'm on Tumblr like crazy. Tumblr is great too. If your blog is based on Tumblr, that's just already there. But even if it's not, I know a lot of people who will sync their blog post to a Tumblr blog, and you just kind of take one image from your blog, and you just kind of like after the jump, when you click the jump to follow through the whole post, you can just take an image from the top of your blog and put it on Tumblr, but people can click through to your own blog. So I use that as an image dump mostly, so things that are cute and appropriate for me to put on my blog or Twitter, because most of my people at work don't know about my Tumblr, so it's that. Instagram is another one, and I couldn't have seen this coming. A year ago, I would not have been saying this, but Instagram has taken off like wildfire. It's it's come to the Android device as well as iPhone, and that helps a lot. But I just read yesterday that Instagram now has more mobile activity per day on mobile than Twitter does, which is insane. Like Twitter gets a lot of activity mobilely. So another thing, like if you want to be on Instagram, you're just posting images, maybe to intrigue people. I see fashion bloggers do this a lot. They'll post, outfit of the day. If you want to know what I'm wearing, click through my blog. Like, all right, got me a Gucci skirt. I mostly post pictures of my cat, but fortunately, I'm a web culture blogger, and cats are like gods in that community. I'm going to show you my cat, actually, break this up in a little bit. My slides got eaten by my PC upstairs, and so I was like, well, I have my notes at least, so I can do hold on. Does anybody know this? Does anybody know these presentations? Oh, they're so funny. I'm sorry for wasting your time. I thought it was oh, no, it's so fun. Hey. Come here. Yeah. Come here. There he is. This is Willie. Willie, groundskeeper Willie. He's a good boy. And I'm going to give him a treat now. And I'm sorry, I know this isn't a conference about feeding cats treats, but it is about the internet, and well, like I said, cats are gods online. So, enjoy. Back to blogs. Alright, so like I said, Tim, the basics for any blogger, you want to be on Twitter and Facebook, and of course there are a lot of best practices for every single social network. And I'm going to talk about a few of those now, for Twitter specifically. For me, managing the community, I've managed major, huge communities on Twitter for several huge brands. Vitamin Water was one of them. You have tens of thousands of followers, and you have all the secret messages that clients want you to put out. Oh, I don't have any more. And you have, right? Even your own sort of messaging, running your own blog feed. It's important to be able to manage everything, seeing things in columns and decks. If you don't have TweetDeck or Hootsuite or a third-party app to help you manage your Twitter, you got to get on that right now. That will change the way you use Twitter. Even things like you can integrate your Facebook account into that, your Facebook feed. But I would highly encourage anyone to download. That is my app of choice. I use stuff. We manage my team manages all of the CBC News. It's the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. We do all Twitter feeds for them. So, we need to be monitoring all the time what people are saying to all of our different handles, sports, all across things. That's impossible to do from just the web client at twitter.com. You need something that you can organize your columns in. Hootsuite is great because it's mobile, it's not mobile, but it's web-based. So you can take your settings to any computer, but you can also sync your TweetDeck to do that. I just think TweetDeck is it's more robust, it's a lot more stable. Okay, so as far as activity on Twitter goes, the thing that I always tell people when they're like, oh, I don't have any followers, I don't have more followers, you have any followers, and I'm always like, I don't know, be hilarious. But what I mean by that is be yourself and be authentic. The worst kind of tweeters are the ones that go on and just push their product. If you're trying to popularize your blog using Twitter, you don't want to just be posting links to your blog constantly. My blog's awesome. Today I blogged about this. People aren't going to be interested. They just see you as spammy. You want to actually have conversations on Twitter. Talk to people. I know this isn't a Twitter seminar, but there are a lot of things you can learn. Even just at twitter.com, look through their guidelines of how to use hashtags and @ and handles. And Twitter has been, for me, one of the most important drivers of traffic to my blog. It's actually helped me establish myself in this city alone, in Toronto, and in the media sphere here. So many people know who I am just because of Twitter. If you can really get yourself into that zone, it'll be great for you. As far as Facebook goes, like I said, I'm not huge into using Facebook fan pages for individuals, unless you are a really big blogger, blogs like, Gawker and Meterama and things like that. Sure. I personally don't like the idea of making a fan page for myself. I think that's weird. So I'm at 5,000 friends now, and I keep calling them down and reacting. So I'm going to just talk about a few things. Just establishing consistency across all of your networks. This is something that I find really helps get your brand out there and get you established as a leader of a community, really brand your whole community. So you look at someone like Leslie, Darling Stewart here, very, very strong graphic presence. You can tell her style, but there are people too. Even if you have a headshot that you use regularly, the worst thing I see is when people put you have one picture on Tumblr, one picture on Facebook, with different profile pictures everywhere. Just kind of make it consistent so that people, when they see that, it doesn't have to be the same picture, but the same sort of elements. Like for me, I have the green background, or I have the cat ears, or the alien ears, or a certain pose. Give yourself a little bit of quirk and infuse your entire community with that sort of unit, something unique to you. Consistency with language is important as well. If you're going to be, if you're a cheeky, quirky comedy blogger, bring that to all of your networks. If you are a serious and real estate blogger, keep that same tone of voice. That's not to say that you don't change it for each platform. You don't have to speak the same way on LinkedIn as you do on Tumblr. But it's important to be consistent and be authentic. And I think if you are consistent across all your networks, people can see that, and they're more likely to want to be a part of your community, be a part of your tribe, So keep that in mind when you're building your online presence. Have specific taglines that you use, or variations of taglines, kind of language. For me, I use a lot of funny made-up words and things like that as part of my style. You need to kind of give people something to expect and know you for it. I'm going to just I talked a little bit about tools. I don't know how many of you, I can't hear you, so I want to ask you by raise of hand, how many of you are interested in learning about managing online communities for brands, specifically? Hold on. So, okay, a couple of you. And the rest of you, are you more for your own personal blog presence? Who's for that reason? Yeah? Okay, so we have a split here. Branding-wise, it's not as valuable to personal bloggers to look at your metrics. I do think it's important to look at your blog's metrics, but to analyze every follower you have on Twitter and every follower you lose, that's not as important for personal bloggers. If you are a person who manages a Twitter account, a Facebook presence for a brand, there are a lot of different tools you can use to help you keep a track of everything. Systemos is one. I think you have to pay for it, but it's one that I've used to great success to find consumers who are interested in your product and in your brand, and it also helps you track your reach. Radian 6 is another one. Even using something like I mentioned, Hootsuite, and something like Bitly. If you want to track how far a certain link goes, Bitly is completely free. You can see that. As a blogger, I don't manage anything for a brand specifically now, aside from CBC News on my work account, but I do campaigns all the time for companies. I work with them, just kind of promote stuff through my blog that I get paid for, and they want to know at the end, they want to look at my metrics and know, how far does this go? So I go to bit.ly.com and make a custom URL track that URL. So if you want to go to a client and say, well, I have this many clicks, or here's where they came from, you can do that for free and this. That's important as well. I have a couple of tips here written down for you guys. They're just things that have helped me along the way in growing a community. I mean, I'm not where like someone huge is right now, but I think for Toronto I do pretty well here. And I got to kind of where I was through being myself, being open, being funny, expressing my personality, also being professional, being smart. So I'm just not saying that I'm smart, but you know, tweeting smartly, tweeting smart things. Nobody wants to hear about your breakfast, blah, blah, blah. Unless it's really awesome. I do about awesome breakfast. So here are some tips. Be yourself and show your personality, but not to the extreme. You know, we all get emotional sometimes, and I see this all the time, especially with young people my age. You know, you had a bad day, you get a fight with your boyfriend, and there's a stream of blah, blah, blah. Like, you want to be yourself, but not to the extent where you make people uncomfortable, because you'll lose followers. Reply to people. It's not Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, Instagram, Utopia. It's not a message board for you to broadcast how awesome you are. It's something, building a community is about a community. It's people in it too. You want to make friends. That's the beauty of it. That's why I love it. I have so many internet friends. And so to make that happen, they're not going to fall in love with you and want to be friends with you just by, oh, here's another link to my blog. Here's another thing that I want you to buy. Have conversations with people. Find people talking about what you're interested in using hashtags. You're interested in model trains? Look up model trains on Twitter. Literally, they just write model trains and search and see who else is talking about it. Events like the one you're at right now are a great way to meet people and build up your community and build up your network. I met so many friends, and really, actually one of my first jobs right out of school was a journalism conference that I went to, and I was tweeting on hashtags for the conference. One of the managing editors at a newspaper, Toronto Star, saw me, and through that, clicked through to my blog, started reading my stuff, and they hired me. Like, it's, you know, this stuff is pretty powerful. It translates into real online success if you can do it well. So get out there, tweet a lot, tweet at other people, and keep it on the top of your mind. I mean, for me, I have my iPhone, and that's so important too. Having it mobile means with you all the time. I mean, how often are you sitting at your computer doing work and you have a stroke of genius? You're like, oh, that's hilarious, I'm going to tweet that. Like, every once in a while, right? But most of my great tweets happen when I'm walking around the street and I'm like, look at that. Sure, quirky caption, bam, you know, 40 retweets. That's awesome reach. And that kind of stuff might not directly get people clicking to my blog, but it gets people following me. So that when they're looking at their list one day, and I do tweet to my blog, or I do have an important announcement to make, and, you know, donate to my Run for Hearing, and I want people to, they're going to already be following me, and they know, oh, she's legit, she's cool, she's funny. Sure, I'll click through, I'll see what this is about. Another tip, be polite and friendly. Trolls suck. I think anyone who's in an online community has experienced flaming trolls. Who here has been, you know, the victim of mean words online? Anyone? Nobody's ever been told. There you go. Thank you. Thank you, sir. You're a brave man. Yeah, very nice. I've been victim of online abuse. I'm a victim. Sometimes I deserve it. I'm a jerk. But you know what? Like, most of the time we don't. And people will come up, like, I had someone message one time was just like, you smell like shrimp. And I was like, you can't smell me. You're what? Because they're just nonsensical, these trolls, and they're jerks. The worst thing you can do is reply to them. And it takes a lot of willpower. It tells that, especially when it's true, like when people come up and they're like, whoa, you messed up or you spelled a word wrong by accident. It happens. People are human. We make mistakes. You know, I'm typing something on Twitter and I spelled something wrong. I was, you spelled that wrong. Hey, Lord, just you know, you know, 12 retweets. Look, why do you delight in my mistakes so much? This is what you gotta do. You just gotta be like, you know what, deal with it, right? Yeah, deal with it, but brush that dirt off your shoulders. More trolls. I hate it. It's gonna hate. Also, listen to what people are saying. How many story ideas I get from Twitter for work and for my blog. You can take as much from your community as you give to it. and I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean, I build a community for, you know, not selfish purposes, but you start doing things to bring attention to yourself, to your brand, product, to your blog, but you end up really benefiting from it too. So all of these people I follow, people I talk to, I'll post a link sometimes on Facebook or on my blog, and I'll get a comment that actually inspires me to look up something else, and it just really enriches your life. So listen to what people are saying, listen to what people want. You know, if someone says something to you on Twitter, you might not like it, but you can see value in it and maybe take some feedback. Oh, 10 minutes, I got my 10-minute warning. All right. Share lots. And that is probably my greatest tip for people who want to build up a good following, good Twitter following. I know all the time in real life, people tell me they go to my blog to see funny stuff, or they follow me on Twitter because they like things I share. So, you know, share lots. If you're walking around, you see a cool deal on something in your neighborhood, you know, tweet it on the pet. I'm sure NEPA's got its own hashtag. Most cities do around here. Tweet it. You're like, oh, this is a $10 this day. Share people. Go out to marketplaces, meet people, conferences, parties, and I hear we got some questions. So I'm going to stop there, my rambling. I'm sorting out my slide. It would have been a lot of coherence with it. But yes, I'm ready for some questions now, so if anyone's got them.